Hello and welcome to the show, Tony Hicks. Just have been looking forward to meeting you for such a long time. Welcome to Unabashed You.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. All right, let's get to know you a little bit here. Is there anything you want the listeners to know as we get started?
Uh,
A lot of people say no. There's
yeah,
nothing you need to, so here's the thing. There are no wrong answers. No
I
wrong
appreciate
answers
that.
because you are the expert on you, right?
That's
So no wrong answers.
no, nothing off the top of my head.
Okay.
Whatever I provide throughout the conversation, that's what I want everybody to know.
There you go. I love it. That's great. See, you're already an expert at you, off to a great start. Okay. He's got a great smile, by the way, listeners. All right. What three words, Tony, would you use to describe yourself?
Three words that I would use to describe myself. Uh, Patient, uh, non-judgmental, and hopeful.
Oh, that's beautiful. Gosh, those are really good words. I like those words. Those start to paint a picture, Tony, of who you are to me, and then also in part how you see yourself. So, yeah, that's really beautiful. Oh, have you ever played Two Truths and a Lie where you say three things about yourself, but one of those things is not true, and I try to figure out which one is not true? Have you ever done that before?
I've never played the game, but I think I'm familiar with it.
Okay, so three things. One of the things isn't true, and you can put them in any order, and then I see if I can figure it out.
All right. One is I'm fluent in Spanish.
Okay.
I don't have any social media, and I won a basketball championship while I was in prison.
Okay. Oh, I certainly hope some of these are true. This is fun. Okay, basketball championship. Okay. Okay. Oh gosh, Tony. Okay, fluent in Spanish. That certainly is a possibility. Okay, no social media. I kind of believe that too. And won a basketball championship in prison. I kind of believe that too. So if I have to pick, gosh, they're all so good. I mean, I can see them credibility wise, they could all be. Okay, Tony, I'm gonna have to go with the and fluent in Spanish as the lie. How'd I do?
That is the lie. I've been off and on practicing Spanish for a while, and I'm not fluent yet. So that is a lie.
Well, isn't it true that learning any language as an adult, unless you've got some gift, is so hard?
It is
So
extremely hard.
hard.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, and how are you learning it? Are you like doing Duolingo or,
Yeah, Duolingo is my current method of trying to learn it. Yeah.
Okay, I've been doing Duolingo French for I think, gosh, 2 years now, and I'm nowhere close. Nowhere close, but it is fun because it's kind of like a game.
No,
Okay,
absolutely.
right. So no social media, and that one's true. And you know what? I gotta say, there's something very freeing about not having it, I would imagine, because you're not tied to this thing in your life, which since you don't have it, you don't probably quite get it, and good for you. I mean, there are benefits, but I don't know, maybe the not benefits are outweighing the benefits. I don't know, hard to say. And you did win a basketball championship in prison. Good for you. So
Well,
obviously that was a team thing.
yeah,
Yes,
team. Yeah, team
yes.
effort.
Okay. Wonderful. And are you better at offense or defense?
I'm better at defense because, yeah, I'm better at defense. Absolutely.
Oh, and that's hard because you've got to be, have the courage to get in there, right? And
Yep.
try to get that ball away from
Yes, man.
whoever has it. Oh my gosh. Well, good for you for that's it's a fun feather in your cap, as they say. Boy, that is an old expression. That really dates me, doesn't it? Not that I came up with that. I think that goes back to the early colonial, who knows where we got the feather in the cap thing. All right, a person that inspires you. Who inspires you, Tony?
Inspiration. A lot of people inspire me. You can let's say Nelson Mandela. Uh,
Yes. Yes, I can remember. Well, I was at well, I remember following his story, not early on, but somewhere along the way. And I know a couple movies were made about him.
mm,
And I remember being a teacher and really talking to my classes about him also as an inspiration. And then when he got out, just like the joy and the celebration of
hmm
being released. And then being the
The
president
president.
was
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, it just keeps going. It just feels so good. Well, that is a really good one. And other than the things that I already mentioned, why do you find him inspiring?
Um, well, I think his story is I read his autobiography while I was incarcerated when I was in Pelican Bay. I thought it was well written, of course, and I shared it with as many people as I could. I think his story is um not again, not to compare myself, but I think his story is a great example of reconciliation, and also think it's a great example of restorative justice.
Right. Gosh, yes. Yes. And those are words that we need to not just hear more about, but live, right?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I love that so, so much. And yeah, he is a really great example of like I mean, when his parents had him, who would have known, right?
Yeah.
As a little baby, that so much grief and so much pain and yet so much greatness would come from this one individual. I mean,
hmm
it's extraordinary. It really is. Yes, he's very inspiring. That's a really great one. I don't think we've had him before on the show, Tony, so that's a first. He's a good one. Not that he doesn't inspire loads of people because he clearly does. I love that you're the first person to name him. Now, Tony, okay, and this is fun. This is just a silly question. One of your favorite movies? I mean, one of them. I mean,
One of
maybe.
one of my favorite movies is Braveheart with Mel Gibson.
Oh, okay. Tell me why that is. What do you love about it?
I think that movie has everything in a complete story. Basically, it has action in it for people that's action. Um, uh, People that are driven by action. It's a love story. It's also about freedom. It's also about perseverance.
Right,
It's also about fighting against greater odds than yourself.
right, right. Wow. And I saw that not too long ago again. How every once in a while it's like
hmm
you want to revisit a movie. You're like, I think I remember really liking that. And you revisit it and you're like, yes, yes, it really holds up. It really holds up. And that is great. Okay, and so Tony, a piece of wisdom that you keep handy. Is there a piece of wisdom you keep handy?
A piece of wisdom that I keep handy is I want to say it is a Yoruba proverb that says the things worth having are worth fighting for.
Ah,
So to me, it basically means that like if you want something, you have to um, go get it. You can't expect people
right.
just to give you stuff.
Okay, right, right. So, right. So that it's sort of the opposite of being entitled, right?
Yeah,
Just because I want it, I can have it. I mean, like,
yeah,
no, if you want it, go work for it. Go make
absolutely.
it happen for yourself. I think it's so much sweeter when you do it that way, don't you think?
I agree. I agree. It's difficult, but it is sweeter when you look back on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So Tony, you are our last guest for our superpower series.
Okay.
We have been looking at superpowers this summer because we've got Wolverine and Deadpool and whatever else is happening out there. I don't know. I didn't see it, but I know every summer is full of superheroes, right?
Yes, yes,
So I
ma'am.
thought it would be fun just to have this great little superpower series. And let's start there. Do you have a favorite superhero?
A favorite superhero? No, not since I was a young person. Uh,
Okay. Who did you like as a young person?
well, I enjoy comic books and I enjoy cartoons. So my superhero um, favorites kind of bounced around a little bit.
Okay,
So yeah,
name a
but
couple.
um, Superman for DC, The Flash, also the uh, Blue Marvel, the Hulk, of course. I like Thor and the more popular ones from the MCU now.
Gosh, and it sounds like you know what you're talking about because you're like telling which universe they're from, what they're that's impressive. That's impressive. And of course, I don't necessarily follow all that. I certainly hear about it, and
Mhm.
I did watch Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot. I thought she did a great job, reimagining that character. So there is a lot of fun. I think I just join the people who feel like they've got a little bit of superhero fatigue, right?
Yeah,
It's just, it's
there's
like
so
the,
much.
yeah, you get a good thing and then they just, just overdo it, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I didn't like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman made me like Wonder Woman. I wasn't a big Wonder
Ah,
Woman fan growing up. Even when I caught the reruns of the old TV
right,
show, I wasn't
right.
really a big fan of hers. But Gal Gadot, that first Wonder Woman movie, that like kind of cemented me as a fan of her character.
Right. And I have to agree. I did not care for Wonder Woman growing up as a TV show at
Mhm.
all. I thought it was silly and not at all necessary. No offense against what was her name who did that? Linda.
I,
I don't remember. I don't remember what her name was.
yeah,
See her face. I can see her face. I
I can
can't
see
see.
her face too.
Yeah, I can see her
Dark
face.
hair. Yes,
Dark hair,
ma'am.
right. Okay, but yes, Gal Gadot and however they wrote and directed the reimagining of that character. Yes, I very much appreciated her in that role. Okay, so let's say you were a superhero.
Hmm.
What superpower would you want to have? A superhero superpower?
Uh, I would like to be able to communicate with anyone, no matter what the language barrier is.
Ooh, I like that. Ah, that, because then you actually are fluent in Spanish, right?
Then I would be, yes.
Yeah, you're fluent in all the languages. You understand them all, you can speak
Yeah,
them all. Oh, that is so fun. I like that one. No one has said that. No one has said that. That is a really good one. I like that. Because no matter where you went in the world, you could communicate. And obviously, if you can communicate, then you can, get things done and move
absolutely.
in the world and all of that. That would really help with traveling.
That would really help with traveling.
Yeah, it really would. Okay, so now we're going to talk about mortal or human superpower. So,
Hmm.
Tony, do you have a superpower?
Um, yeah, I guess I'm a really good listener.
Okay. You know, that is a superpower because I think a lot of us want to talk and be heard, right? As opposed to listening and let the other person be heard. So have people told you that you're a good listener, or have you just noticed this about yourself?
People told me that I was a good listener, and then that helped me to notice it about myself.
Ah, so you didn't necessarily notice it. Oh, I like that. So other people notice it about you and help point that out to you, like, hey, you know what? You're a good listener. That is good. And do you find that the older you get, the more opportunities you have to kind of, refine that?
Yes. I have opportunities to refine it, and I also find that um, the older I get, the more I need to be reminded. I need to remind myself that um, I'm a good listener, basically, because we all, like you said, people kind of get trapped into this kind of stagnation where we're just waiting to be heard, basically, just waiting on our turn to talk. So I had to remind myself not to do that and to be present in the moment when I'm listening to people.
Wow. But I really do think that's a gift. I really do. And I'm glad you have it because we need not just the speakers, we need the people who will listen because we really all do want to be seen, to be heard, and to be understood. And the only way we can do that, really, once we've expressed ourselves, is for somebody else to say, "Oh, yeah, okay, yes, I get that. I hear that.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful." Do you find you have a lot of opportunities to be able to do that?
Well, yeah, working with the foundation, I have tons of opportunities to do that. Uh, and I have, I'm a plumber by trade.
Oh,
My full-time job is a plumber. So I communicate with customers, on a day-to-day basis, and I have to hear them out and sometimes when they're panicked or not at their best. So yeah.
that's such a good point because if they're calling a plumber, unless they're building a new house, right?
Yeah.
In some kind of a panic situation, right?
Yes,
They've
ma'am.
got a leak, they've got an overflowing toilet or whatever it is, right? And they are panicked and they're not at their best.
Yeah.
So because you're a good listener, then that comes in very handy. So
Sometimes.
you have kind of a go-to like thing that not really a formula, but things that you find that you say often to kind of help, or does it vary? Obviously, it's going to vary depending on the individual, but how do you help assure them that you're going to do your absolute best to figure this out?
Well, I don't try to talk over them. I don't try to explain the issue before I hear from them what they feel like the issue is. Um,
Ooh.
I may, if I do ask questions, they're leading questions in order to get them to kind of vent or relieve themselves or whatever pressure they might have in their brain about what's going on inside their homes.
That is great. And that requires patience, right? That
I am patient.
that has to require patience because in your head, as soon as they say probably hardly anything, you're like, well, yeah, that's a da 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 da.
Yeah,
But you're listening and
yeah.
listening and letting them vent because they need to kind of get some of that out. Wow. Well, that is a really great way to deal with people who are frustrated because they're not calling you when they're not frustrated.
Yes, that's absolutely the case.
Are you enjoying it? I imagine on some level, because you're so good at, you already have this superpower and you're able to communicate and connect with your clients, that probably is deeply satisfying.
Yeah, that part of the job is satisfying. Being able to connect with people and being able to help people is when everything works out well and all the pieces fall into place, then yeah, that's extraordinarily satisfying.
Oh, I love that. Extraordinarily satisfying. That's a good word. I love words, Tony. You may not know that about me, but you do now. Okay. Oh my gosh. So very good. How do you think, um, how would you advise somebody to find their superpower? Like, because I mean, I think we all have a superpower, right? I really do. You may not know that you have one, you may not know what it is, but that doesn't mean you don't have one,
Hmm.
right? How would you advise somebody to find their superpower?
Oh, wow. Listen to the people closest to you about you.
Mm, mhm. That's
Uh,
good.
engage the people that are closest to you about yourself. Because we are, well, I tend to think that we all have this mental image of ourselves, but that mental image may not reflect one, a reality, or may not reflect um, those who love us, perceptions of us, basically.
Oh,
So,
that's good. Right. Yes, that's so true. Because we do see ourselves, or we can see ourselves very differently than the way other people see us. And certainly our trusted, closest people would, and especially at the invitation to, hey, how do you see this about me? Or how do you see me? Or what do you think my strength is? You know,
hmm,
that's, and then what could I get better at?
yeah. That's the difficult part because if you ask a question like that, like what are my strengths, then somebody might tell you what your weaknesses are, and you might not want to hear that.
Yeah, but I, and I'm glad you used that word weakness because I feel like as I get older and I understand myself better,
Hmm.
I try to sort of reframe the things that are quote unquote weaknesses
Hmm.
as the things I could get better at.
Absolutely,
So it's not like done, right? It's not done.
absolutely.
I can choose to improve in those things. And also, it just means I'm not natural at that. I'm just not a natural at being fluent in Spanish. That's not natural. But
Hmm.
if I want to get better at something, then I can choose to do that and work that muscle.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. And somebody told me a long time ago, I don't know who to contribute this to, but it was about failure. And it was like you're not a failure because a failure is a finished result. Like that's the end of it. As long as you're alive, you have opportunity to um, readjust it, work on it, improve it, and be successful at it.
Right. That is very good advice. Very good advice. Yes. Yeah, because yeah, failure is you're done, but
Hmm.
you're not done. As long as you're breathing, you're not done. That's right. Well, Tony, you know, I mean, we just met right before this call. And it's been such an absolute pleasure and privilege. I want to tell you what I think your superpower is.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have been thinking about this for a while. As soon as we, you know, chose the date, we got the date, we got the time. I was like, you know, I really want Tony to know what I think his superpower is, and I think you have two. One is forgiveness, and
Hmm.
I think that is a really beautiful part of your story. And then I don't know that I've ever met a more humble individual than yourself. I mean, you come across, it's not even just that you come across, it's beyond that you are. So that's different because you can wear a mask, but you are, I feel it right through the screen. You're a very humble individual. And I am just feel so honored to have you spend this time with me, having this conversation, getting to know you a little bit better. And I'm very grateful for uh, all of the ways that you have uh, gone through your life in making good out of so many things, and that you know, you are an example of forgiveness and humility. And I'm just, I feel very grateful for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I'm wishing you just wonderful, when I say success, and I don't mean monetarily necessarily, I just mean success in how it feels good to you in your
Mhm.
life as a plumber, in your life, the work you do for the foundation, in your life, in your relationships, in your life, in your fun, all the many parts of your life. I'm wishing you just great, great success.
Thank you. I appreciate that.